week's episode of Sailor Moon Crystal, the Sailor Senshi prepare for their final battle with Wise Man and his brand new powerful servant, Black Lady. They then get their weapon. You know what? Screw the intro. You know what's really messed up and creepy about this episode? There's a scene that will haunt your dreams forever. Chibiusa has now become an adult thanks to the power of Wise Man. She's now known as Black Lady. And what does she do with her brand new malefic dark crystal power? She decides to make out with the past version of her father. What the hell? It's just like the scene in Star Wars when Leia kisses Luke. The difference is, they didn't know they were brother and sister. Chibiusa knows that Endymion is going to be her father. Ugh! Now, despite how creepy and messed up all of this is, it's actually a really great way to build tension and build up this big finale with Wise Man, which I honestly think is going to be one of the highlights of Sailor Moon Crystal. In fact, this week's episode really wasn't all that bad whatsoever, and I gotta say my favorite scenes are actually the ones that involved all of the villains of the series. There's a scene where we're formally introduced to Black Lady where she takes Prince Demand and his brother Sapphire to the dimension of Wise Man, which looks really creepy and awesome, and he has this castle. His castle is basically just a rock floating in space, but then again, if King Kai can get away with it, so can Wise Man. So, Wise Man has used his powers to take over Prince Demand and Sapphire. He gives them these brand new malefic dark crystal earrings, which are not only functional, but they look fabulous. He charges Chibiusa with the task of going after the legendary silver crystal, and this is very interesting. Her actual character is very disturbing in the sense that she's basically a spoiled brat character who's now been gifted with power, and she's sort of gone mad with that power. You can still see glimpses of Chibiusa's real personality trying to get out, and I really feel that it's only a matter of time before she is able to escape from this adult-like form. Whether it be by herself with the help of the Sailor Senshi, we're just going to have to wait and see how that goes down. The other parts of the episode are not as interesting, basically just the Sailor Senshi going back in time because Sailor Moon passed out from all the power she was using. She gets homesick, she reminisces about the fact that Momo-chan and frickin' Chibiusa isn't there anymore, and that makes her all sad. It's really not all that exciting, and it's again just another build-up to them eventually going back forward in time and getting ready to battle against Wise Man. The episode ends with the big formal introduction of Black Lady, claiming that she is going to be the brand new queen of Planet Nemesis. So what's the rundown? On this week's episode of Sailor Moon Crystal, another step in the right direction. This week's episode was creepy as hell with Chibiusa. She's a very underhanded villain and probably one of my favorite from the series thus far. I don't think all of the incest stuff was exactly necessary. You could argue that Prince Endymion is actually like another incarnation of the character and they're technically not related, but no. That's freaking Tuxedo Mask. That is Chibiusa making out with her dad, and it's pretty freaking creepy that that's what she wanted the entire time. There were hints to that before, but this really pushes it to an entirely new level, which I don't really dig whatsoever. Some other scenes that I really liked this week was actually getting to see Chibiusa breaking into the Fortress of Solitude for the legendary silver crystal, trying to claim it for herself. And there's a scene where she meets Sailor Moon for the first time and she tries to steal her crystal, and she ends up getting instantly just like vaporized and then warped away right outside of this place. It's a pretty interesting concept. I wish they would have done a little bit more with it, but again, this is basically a glorified build-up episode. But the real reason to check out this episode is just all of the creepy stuff with all the villains. The Wise Man and Chibiusa scenes are really well done. They have some great atmosphere going for them, and probably some of the best animation from this week's episode, which seemed like it stepped up just a little bit. I mean, just the way Chibiusa's hair actually flows in the wind, just the look of Wise Man's dimension with all the weird symbols floating around in the dark purple smog. It looks really awesome, and it's a great villainous lair. So overall, this was a pretty good episode despite all the incest stuff, so I would definitely recommend this episode to any Sailor Moon fan. Whether you've been reading the manga or following the series, you gotta check out this week's episode. You might see something you like, and it'll definitely get you excited for the finale of the first season of Sailor Moon Crystal. Am I gonna review the second season? We're just gonna have to see how the first season pans out. What I will say is this week's episode was actually pretty good despite the creepy moments, so I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Check it out, Sailor Moon fans. It was pretty good. So, I like this episode, but what about you guys? Did you watch this week's episode of Sailor Moon Crystal? Did you have a favorite moment, a favorite Sailor Senshi moment? What do you want to see from the finale of the series? Please tell me in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like it and share it with all of your friends. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, stay dandy, baby.